Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. How is everything going on in life,
Great.
business?
Good, good. Yes, very good. New creative ideas I'm trying, both in personal life and professional.
Yeah, we have to be creative to move on.
Yeah, that is so true.
Can you just introduce yourself, like what you do, how you studied, what's your life journey? If you will tell briefly, so I will get to know about you and others will get to know about you.
Right. So that's a great question. So actually, the thing is that for me, all the decisions have been very spontaneous because I really follow my intuition more than my intellect. So I've never really decided what I want to do. I really jump into it and then I figure it out whether or not it's going to work for me. So parenting coach was something that I'd actually never decided or planned that I would do. But when I became a mother, that's when I faced a lot of challenges. Like most first time mothers face a lot of challenges and difficulties. So, similarly, I actually went through a very difficult learning curve. And 6 months after delivering my first child, I realized that, I was doing something wrong because I was just not being able to manage things efficiently. And that's when I started learning about parenting. And I submitted myself to a few mentors. I started learning from blog articles through videos on parenting. And when I started my journey of learning, it became very easy. Like my journey as a parent, like as a mother, it started shifting and I could see a change in my energy. My environment was the same, the family was the same, my child was same, but my experience completely changed. So that when I saw that huge shift, I had this very strong urge and this strong willingness to share what I was learning with other mothers, because I thought that if it's working for me, it might also work for them. Also, I was stuck for a really long time, for 6 months and plus. So I thought that, maybe I can help somebody to not stay stuck for so long. So with that intent, I really wanted to share what I was learning, but I just did not know how to do it because, I was a very shy person. I still am a very shy person actually. And it was very difficult for me to understand how can I actually start sharing information on parenting. And I was not even sure if people would listen to me, or why would they believe what I was sharing. That was also there. But I don't know, I had this very strong intuitive push that I should do it, and I had this feeling that if I don't do it, I'll be very selfish. So I followed Nichiren Buddhism, and one of our discussion meetings, the topic was that the importance of sharing your experience with others. And throughout that meeting, something happened. I kept thinking that, I should also share my experience with others because that was the topic for the meeting. And I just could not get this thought out of my head. So I come back home and I was just sitting with my husband very casually. And I told him that, I really want to share what I'm learning with other mothers. I just don't know how to do it. And I don't know where to start. And he told me that you should do it on Instagram because all the mothers are hanging out on Instagram, so you should definitely do it on Instagram. And I was like, I just cannot do this. It's not my thing because I was so shy. I had no social media presence. I
Like,
had a personal account on Instagram. Sorry.
I said you were introvert in nature, or
Yeah, so I think I still am. But yes, so yeah, so I didn't have any social media presence. I had an Instagram account which I had very recently created just to record my son's whatever experiences and my experience with him, and also so that his dada dadi could keep getting real time update. So that was the intent with which it was created. So he told me you should do it on Instagram, and I was like, I just cannot, मेरे से नहीं होएगा. And then he was like, just we'll convert this into a bet. And he said that, we'll just open it for one night. And if you get more than 500 followers the next day, we'll keep it open. And if you do not get it, we will close it. So I was like, okay, let's try it. Because, I was very sure that I'm not going to win, or, I'm going to lose this bet because it's so difficult to get 500 people overnight. So just before going to bed, I made my profile public and we changed the name of the page. I made it Mom on Skates so that, to signal to people that, it was a page on parenting. And next day when I woke up, I was completely shocked because I had some more than 800 followers. I had some 2000 plus notifications, and I just had 10-15 posts on my page then. It was all on parenting because I love to read and write. So even on my personal page, I had written like long format content on parenting. And a lot of mothers responded and they started saying that, this is really helpful. I think this is going to work for me. I'm going to try this too. And I'm also going through a similar journey. I'm also going through the similar experiences. And a lot of mothers were also suggesting ideas and they were like, this might work for you. This might also work for you. You can try this. So that's when I got validation that this information really works and that mothers are really looking for something like this. Not just mothers, parents, but mostly I feel my content is written in a way that mostly mothers resonate with it. So it was mostly, I would say, mothers. And yes, and then there was no going back. I kept creating content, and one thing led to the other. Then mothers started asking for parenting workshops. When the lockdown hit, they were like, we want parenting workshops because they had more free time. Their challenges were also different, so they were looking for something more, but I just did not know if I was ready to give them that. So that's when I got certified as a parenting expert, because up till now I was talking from experience based on what I was reading, based on my personal experiences and what I was doing with my son. But when you have to do like a large room workshop, then you need that proper information in a structured format. So then I got certified, and that's when I started doing like a lot of parenting workshops. And now I have my own digital school called Easy Parenting Hub, where I have more than 1,000 plus mothers who are learning every day, and they are like from different parts of the world. And I just feel very happy about the work that I'm doing, because now I can really see how important it is, and I can also see the difference that it can make to a mother's life if she knows what is the better thing to do. So this is how it started. It was not planned. I just kept saying yes to mothers and yes to my intuition, and it just became turned into a company on its own. Never really decided that this is something that I would want to do. So yeah, that's a little about my journey as a parenting
Yeah,
coach.
awesome, awesome. And I saw your Instagram page. You are doing really good, and congratulations for that.
Thank you
So
so
I
much.
want to ask you, being an introvert, as you said, introvert in nature, it is difficult. It is difficult to stand out, to like shoot a video and to talk something, to actually express something. It's difficult for, like, as I noticed about some introvert people, it's difficult. How did you
Right.
manage when it happened? Like, as you said, it happened, and you are happy about the things that people are liking it, and it started, and you started taking workshops and etc. So I will ask, how did you get from that nature and got some energy that I will deliver some content or some experience to
Right.
people? And what's your
Right.
suggestion for the introvert people who want to actually do something? How they will get out of the cell they are in, and they think that
Right.
I am making introvert nature, I can do something. So what do you want to
Right.
say to them?
So for me, I think it was just that the willingness to put the information out there was greater than my resistance. And in fact, videos I started doing in 2020. So I've been creating content for almost 6.5 years, but videos I only started making 2 years back. So I think it's about starting somewhere. So if you feel that you're not okay with videos, at least start. Don't allow that to stop you from starting. So maybe you can start with sharing content where your pictures are not there. Then you can slowly graduate to content pieces where you're okay with putting yourself out there, and then you can take one step at a time. But the idea is that only when you do it will you sort of start to get comfortable with it. And it's all in their head. So mostly people have resistances like log kya sochenge, what will people think about it, will people really benefit from it, I'm not certified, why will people want to listen to me, how can all of those things, how will I manage it, how will I create content.
I listen
Yeah,
from some introvert people, they say that I can't do it. So what do you want to say?
I can't do it.
I can do it because
Yeah,
I'm.
you can do it. Yes, of course, all of us can do it if we really want to do it, and if the willingness to do it is greater than your resistance. I think it's just that equation, that your willingness to serve or your willingness to do it should be greater than the resistance. And that once that happens for you, once you can really feel it in your core that I have to do it, ye karna hi hai, then you will figure out a way of doing it. So I just feel that it's all in the head. Just if you feel that there is something bigger that you want to do, something that you have, some topic or something that you want to share, then I think it's your moral responsibility to share it. Because if you know something can help others, and if you're keeping it to yourself, you're actually not doing the right thing. So just put it like that, and then maybe it'll become easier for you to do it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this. And with that note, I just want to ask you, you said that when you became a mom and it was like the challenges that you face or the things that happened with you, you are like sharing all this. So I just want to ask you, can you just address some problems that you face being a mother or challenge, not a problems, challenges that you face being a mother, then how did you overcome that? And what do you want to say to our people who are listening to us?
Right. So, of course, like as a first time mother, I definitely faced a lot of challenges because parenting is not something that we are taught ever. Like, it's just like, you have a baby and then you're expected to know everything about being a parent. But that's not how it works, right? So there are small things like, feeding the baby is not latching, or you are not lactating. And then you have these thoughts that, why am I not lactating? Why is everybody else lactating? Or am I not holding my child right? Why is my child not sleeping on time? Why is my child always up at night? Those small things can really be very overwhelming. And at different ages they go through that different developmental stage. Like, there is this phase where most children start to hit. Then there is this phase where you have to start feeding your child, and then it's a process which you have to follow to make sure that your child is eating solids. So but if you don't know the right way to do it, it can just get very difficult and overwhelming. But if you have a mentor, or if you have good information about what is the right thing to expect, then you will not blame yourself. Otherwise you're always blaming yourself as a mother that I'm doing something wrong, or why is it not happening for my child. So that can really be very overwhelming, and it can just make you feel very stressed out. Also, if you're a working mother, then managing work and child can be a problem. And for some of us, work is a very important value. So for me, I think working is very important, at least to be mentally occupied with something more productive is something which I feel is very important for me to stay happy. But when I had like my first child, I decided to let go of work. I decided that I'll be a full-time mother and I want to spend good time with my child, because before my business was doing well financially, there was no issue. So I felt that okay, fine, I can go on a break and I can be with my child. But I realized that that was not the best decision for me, because I was not very happy inside, because I need that thing to be, I need something to keep me mentally occupied, and so that I feel productive about my day. So when I let go of the work, I saw a drop in energy. And because of that, all areas of my life were very negatively affected. I was not able to do justice to my child. Also, my relationship with my husband was suffering. I was a very irritated person because I was not living life aligned with my values. So I think that is very important. So when we become a mother, sometimes our priorities change completely, which obviously is very normal because it's a huge responsibility. But I feel that even when we are changing our priorities, it's important that we continue to do things that are aligned with our values. And if we can actually manage to do that, it becomes a lot easier. But for some time I feel that I was completely not in alignment with my values, and that led to a lot of disharmony. So even though I had everything in my outer world, my inner world was completely in a mess. Like I was completely lost. I remember I used to sit and cry for hours, and I just did not know what was happening. I was totally like, my life was not in my control. It was like something external was controlling me all the time. So yes, and how did it get better for me? I think it was educating myself. And the first thing that I learned was to take full responsibility of my life and to stop blaming others for what was happening to me. The second thing that really helped me was to not focus on what was happening outside, but to really go inside and see how I could make it better for myself. What was it that was triggering that irritation and frustration for me, and how could I fix it internally rather than, trying to fix everything in my outer world. So I think education is very important. And of course, self care, and to live your life aligned according to your values. I think these three things actually helped me come back to an energy space where I was feeling good about myself and about my environment.
Actually, being a girl is with a lot of responsibilities comes, like if you are a professional, then your work, your home, your husband, your child, a lot of things are there. And in between that, the ladies forget themselves, their works, like what makes them happy, and that's how the frustration comes. And some don't think about that, and they forget about that. Okay, let's like it's okay if it's happening now, nothing is going to happen in my life, and we leave it like that, because I saw a lot of things
Right.
like that. And what's your suggestions to them? If also another one question with that, if they're not getting the support from their family, their husband or their mother-in-law or someone, so if they want to do something, but they are not getting the support that they want, because a lot of things are there. So works and all, homeworks, and they are not supporting the lady. How that lady need to handle the situation, and what need to do next? That's what my question.
Right. That's a great question. And my only answer to this would be that you will never get support when you're starting off. You're completely on your own when you're starting off. No, once you become big, people start to support you and they help you. But when you're starting off, then, you really don't get too much support. You're on your own. So that time, you're your biggest support and you have to take full responsibility for everything that you wish to do. And not having time, I feel, is an excuse that there is so much happening, how will I do it? I just feel that if you really want to do it, you'll figure out a way to do it. Like, you'll find the time to do it. So you'll maybe, like, and I just feel that parenting is like, once you become a mother, your life does not stop. It can slow down, right? It can slow down. So it's like a bumper. So like if you're driving a car, if
Yeah.
you're driving a car and if there's a bumper on the way, you're not going to stop your car completely, right? You're just going to slow down, cross that bumper, and then continue your journey. So once you have a child, it's almost like that you can slow down, but you cannot stop completely. So like, let's say if you were not a mother, maybe if you could put 8 hours in a day and now you're just left with 2 hours in a day, it's important that you do something with those 2 hours, but not like not do anything at all. So if you feel that you really want to do something, then learn a new skill. See what is it that you can do with 1 or 2 hours that you get in your day, and how can you slowly start to put yourself out there. How can you slowly start to serve people with the skills that you have? And once you start to serve and help and start to create, that's very important. That instead of competing, we really need to focus on creating. So create something new every single day. So learn something, create something. So that's the cycle that I really follow. That I learn, I write something. These three things I do every single day. That I learn something new, then I write something every day, like, and then I create something every day, create like a digital content piece or whatever it is. So I think if you can do this every day and it doesn't take too much time, if you really want to do it, you can really do it in 1 hour, 2 hours if you want to. You can learn something for half an hour, you can write something, and then you can create something for another half an hour. So if you can just have like 1.5 hours in a day, then you are good to go.
Like it
Right? So
will,
we just make it seem like it's too difficult, but it's actually not.
yeah, I said like it will give you the happiness that after being so busy, you are finding some time for yourself and you are engaging with.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Finding time for yourself, learning something new, because learning will really help you feel better about yourself. Because every day you will start to grow as a person when you learn something.
Yeah.
Just 1 second.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel also. Being a girl, we all need to independent. We all need to think about ourselves, because we sometimes we feel, when we feel that we are not that much getting what we want. That's how we need to stand up. We need to do something for ourselves. So we will get what we want by being giving excuses, by saying that I am not getting time, I am not getting support. It's not like nothing going to happen, because you will not get the support. I also feel the same way. So my next
Right.
question to you, that how do you feel, like what you feel for a child, how much the importance of a parent, what is the importance of a parent, the time that the child required, how much, like what are the things actually the child required when the child grow up, and like if you are a busy and working professional, you are mother or you are father or something like that, you don't have time, but you need to give time to your child. If I would ask you, because we feel like irritated after having a busy schedule. If I'm going to a software company, I'm doing something, I'm not getting time to spend time with my child, but I need to. And why? My question
Right.
is why? Because when the child grow up, I feel like the child needs some time from their parents. So, what's your take in this? What's your what do you want to say to the parents that give some time to your child and why it's important?
Right. So that's a great question. Of course, this is the biggest struggle that mothers face, that, I'm not being able to give enough time to my child. So again, here it would actually mean that, sometimes we feel that, giving too much time, by giving too much time, we are doing good to our children. I don't think that's right. Of course, giving time is important, but sometimes, kids don't need too much time also, because everything has to be done in balance. Excess of anything is not good. So, like, what I really follow is called 10 slots of 10 minutes each, where you are spending, at least 10 times you're meeting your child for at least 10 minutes every day. Like every slot is for 10 minutes, and there are 10 slots, and every time you meet your child, you do something productive in those 10 minutes. So let's say you can read a book to your child, you can do flashcards with your child, you can just talk to your child for 10 minutes. So when you do this, it's 1 hour 40 minutes. So even if you're a working mother or you're a homemaker, because for homemakers also sometimes it's very difficult to find time because they're so busy with the other household work, right? So if you can actually make use of these 10 minutes in between that you get, that would be good. But mostly the mistake that we make is that we start to wait for that 1 hour. And I'll get 1 hour, I'll sit with my child, and then I'll do activities with my child in that 1 hour. But you have to understand that when you have that 1 hour, your child might not be interested. Your child might be busy with something else, or might be distracted by something else, and might not want to give you that 1 hour. Also, 1 hour is a lot to expect from a child. So if you can do those 10 slots of 10 minutes each with your child, then it becomes very easy for you, because all of us can remain calm for 10 minutes. So we'll not get irritated and frustrated. And our children can also give us attention for 10 minutes. So this is something that I always talk about. It's called 10 slots of 10 minutes. And this is something that I came up with when a lot of mothers started asking me that, how are you um, doing so much, and how is my son Veer learning so much. So that's when I actually started tracking my days, that what is it that I was doing, because and that's when I figured out that I was not sitting with him for too long, but I was actually using those 10 minutes that I was getting in between. And every time I was engaging with him, I was doing something productive with him. So he was also learning, and I was also being able to manage my things very efficiently. Also, the other thing is that there are three very important time slots that we need to spend with our children. First, when they wake up in the morning, at least one parent should be with the child, because that's when they're really craving for connection. And in the morning when they get up, it's important that we just let them be. Like, we do not force them to do things, and don't force them to like go take a shower, and don't put them into activity mode immediately when they wake up. Just let them be, just cuddle them, hug them, and do those things when they wake up. One meal you should have with your child, it could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever is comfortable for the parent, but at least one meal, because through food a lot of energy goes into the body. And now this has been proven by quantum physics also, that food has energy, food and water. So when the parent is doing it, of course, that that good energy is going into the child. So one meal, and before the child goes to bed, again you want to be with your child. And that's the time when you can do some positive affirmations, you can do gratitude with your child, because that loving energy stays with them when they are asleep. So if you can do these three slots every day, there's no need for you to feel guilty as a parent. And also use the 10 slots of 10 minutes each model, which will also really make you feel good every time you go to bed, because you will go to bed with this feeling that at least I did something with my child. You'll not go to bed thinking that today I did not do anything with my child. So even if you can't do 10, even if you can do 3, 4 slots, that's also good. That's 40 minutes and you're doing something productive and positive with your child. And the beauty is that you will not feel any pressure as a parent, and your child will not feel pushed or forced. So I think this works very beautifully. And I really share this with mothers in my community. And most of them are seeing good progress. I'm seeing a good progress in my child using the same. And I've been using this for I think ever since he was born, I've been using the same thing. And I think it works very well because it's so simple.
So it's really like I learned a lot of things. I didn't know about all these things. Obviously, I'm not
Right.
the
I
mother.
think nobody knows about 10 slots of 10 minutes because it's something that I came up with. So, yes.
Like I'm not a mother, so I didn't experience all these things. But it will really work well for my mother. Though we like
Right.
brother and sisters are grown up right now, but
Right.
it will help my mother a little bit. My brothers are also they are very naughty. They really irritate my mother sometimes. They don't listen. So yeah, uh,
Yes.
let's move to the next question. I want to ask, uh, being a parenting coach, you took so many workshops. If I will ask you, what are the mistakes you saw that parents do with their child, and then didn't, then like they need to stop themselves doing these things with their child or something like that, and it's affecting their child.
Right. So, first, I would say would be over managing. Like now I feel that mothers and parents in general have gotten very involved with their parenting, which can be good and bad both, right? So be involved is good, but to be overly involved is not good. So it's like I just like kids are like seeds, right? So if you give them the right amount of water, it's going to grow beautifully. But if you give the seed extra water, it's going to die, right? It's not going to flourish as well as it should. So just like that, our children need adequate attention, but they don't need like over management. And and this has negative effects both on the child and on the parent, because parent starts to feel very overwhelmed. They start to feel that parenting is very difficult because they are creating this problem for themselves by doing too much, more than necessary, basically. And for the child also, because now the child is not getting space to explore and do things on his own, right? So over management, I think, is one thing that we can really try to avoid. Second would be to compare, of course. Like, do not compare, because every child is very special and unique. And I just feel that sometimes as mothers, we really know that we should not, but it becomes very difficult to not do it because of the constant feedback that you're getting from family members that your child is not writing, uske bete ko dekho, he's writing, he's younger. And as a mother, you start to feel that where am I going wrong with my parenting? Why is my child not doing it? Is my child not smart enough, or is my child not good enough? Those kind of thoughts creep in. But it's very important to understand that every child has a different developmental cycle, and you really need to respect that as a parent. And you really need to trust your child that your child is going to do everything that you want, maybe like everything that the other kids are doing, like the simple things, basically, like reading, writing, and those things, that your child will do it when the time is right for your child. Our duty as parents is to just expose them and to try our best, but we cannot force it to happen before time. So I think that would be very important. And the third thing is to overprotect our children. Like managing is like you're really like telling them what to do all the time, and protecting is like you're sometimes rescuing them from challenges. So let's say if your child is in the park and the other friends are not playing with him, so as a parent, you don't want your child to be emotionally hurt, and you are going to rescue your child from that situation by saying that, okay, I'll play with you. So what if others are not playing with you? So what you did was that you actually stole that opportunity of growth from your child by actually emotionally rescuing your child from that situation. So sometimes we get very overprotective as parents. So that's also important that we don't do that, because it's important that they go through that learning cycle, because only when they go through those experiences will they understand that how can they do things differently, what is the better thing to do, what are things that they should avoid doing. Even baby proofing the house, like I'm not very pro baby proofing, that you baby proof everything. So for my house, like I did not have any baby proofing, because I feel that children are very intelligent. So once they crawl and they go to a place which is not very safe, they understand that, okay, this is not safe. Next time I have to avoid this place. Right? Let's say they're going to a pointed edge and by chance they touch it. They'll touch it, they'll not feel good about it. They're not going to do it again because they're very intelligent and they make mental notes all the time. Right? Of course, as parents, we need to be careful and we need to stop them if they're entering into like fire or something. But some basic things I think we can be a little easy about and relax a little. So over managing, over comparing, and over protecting would definitely be top three. And then of course there's this whole list which would take a lot of time. So for now, I think these three should be good to start with.
These are the like biggest issues. Like as you said, every child is different. If when we grow up from a child, it comes time comes that we need to take decision for our career, something like that. I saw a lot of parents expect that their child will go to a job, to be an engineer or to be a doctor, to do something like that. But the child don't want to do it. The child want to explore something different. I love dancing. I want to do dance. I want to do something by my own. I want to go to entrepreneurship. So
Right.
let me try it. So but parents don't support to it. So what do you want to say to those parents, how they will react when child is saying that, baba and mama, I don't want to do this. So what should be the reaction and how they will handle to the situation?
That's a great question. See, I just feel that as parents, it's very important. The most important thing that you can give your child is that you love them unconditionally. So, more than love, I think acceptance is required in parenting. That I accept you for who you are and not for who you want them to be. Right. And also understand that, just because you want your child to do it, there is no reason that your child will do it unless he or she really wants to do it. Right. You cannot force anybody to do anything that they don't wish to. And even if they do it for some time, it's only going to be temporary because they'll do it out of fear, maybe, or they'll do it out of fear of losing you, or they'll do it out of fear of punishment. Whatever the reason could be, it's only going to be temporary. The minute you're gone, that activity is gone. Also, when anything is done from a place of force and fear, they're not going to be good at it, right?
Will not
Because they are not.
happen.
Exactly. They're not going to be good at it. They'll not be happy about it. So I think, honestly, it's a very strong word that I'll be using. I think it's a crime to force your child to do anything, and especially, deciding what they should do later. Like, my child should become an engineer or doctor. You're lucky if it matches. Like, if what you want, your child also wants, then you're very lucky. But I just feel it's very wrong for you. For all you know, maybe your child does more than you have dreamt for your child. They can actually outperform your dreams. So it's very important that you need to give them that space. You need to let them explore, because you don't want to be that person that your child is going to blame for the rest of their life. Because the most important thing that you want to value is your bond and relationship with your child, right? And if you are actually setting your child on a journey which your child is not okay with, your child is never going to think about you in a positive way. Your relation, so basically the trade-off is your relationship with your child and what you want for your child. So now you as a parent have to pick what is more important to you. And I think relationship, definitely, because without that, no matter what your child does, you will not feel good about it, right? So I think it's very, very important that you let your child be and let them do what they want to. And also check with yourself, how would you feel if somebody forced you to do things that you did not like to do? So if you would not feel good about it, you have to really understand that they won't feel good about it, because they are no different from us. They come through us. They are very much like us. So I think you should never ever force your child to become something that you want them to become, unless they also want to become the same thing, right? So it's very important because it's their life, and I think they have the right to make those choices for themselves. You can give them experiences, you can expose them to different activities and ideas, and then let them decide what is it that they like.
Like I feel like it's the life, and your life is different. Your choices are different. Your
Exactly.
child's choice is different, and their child's choice will be different. We can't force. Like it's a
Exactly.
journey. It's a journey. And if I
Right.
will force you to do something, you will not feel good about it because you want to do
Exactly.
something different. And same thing happens, and that's how the relationship with our parents get into the crack, and we don't feel like talking to our parents, because I feel if it will happen with me, I will feel like my parents are not understanding me what I want, because I am
Exactly.
not doing something wrong. You need to understand what I want to do.
Right.
Right. So yeah, thanks for the suggestion, and I want like a lot of people to listen this, because they will really connect the dots that actually what is important.
Right.
Another one question, that what should be the relation?
Also, I would like to add one thing to that, and this is something that I have been asked. So let's say like your parents wanted you to do something and the child decides to do something else, and the child is not doing well at what the child decided to do. It's important as a parent to avoid saying things like, I told you not to do this, I told you there is no future for this, I told you this will never work out, you should listen to me. Because understand that your child made that decision, and not every decision that a child is going to make is going to be the best decision, right? It's important that as a parent, your main role is to support your child no matter what. So you need to tell your child that, okay, this did not work out for you, maybe you can try something else now. Because if you say that, then your child is going to lose his or her confidence forever, and then they might not find it easy to jump to the next thing to do, and they might not be good at anything again. So it's very important that if something like that happens, just to make yourself feel better about you being right as a parent, you don't make your child feel bad about the decision that your child made. So that is also very important, and I think something like a lot of parents do, and something that should be avoided at all costs.
Actually, it becomes frustrating, because when our parents say those that I said you don't do it, but you did it. See the result.
Exactly.
Nothing will happen by you. You can do this. And when these lines we listen from our parents, with whom we spend a lot of time, and if I will be in that situation, I will feel very demotivated. I will feel like my parents are not believing me. It's like,
Exactly.
because the situation is like I am not things are not working out for me, so I am frustrated anyway. When my parents will add something to it, now I will feel more frustrated about this.
Exactly. Right. Right.
So,
Correct.
yeah. Another one question before ending the podcast. I want This question is in my mind. What should be the relation between a parent and a child, from the childhood to when the child becomes adult? Because like if I am not in a good relationship with my parents, like it may be friendly or something like that, I can share what is happening in my life, like in my relationship. Because the most difficult thing is nowadays, child actually have the fear that how I will say my parents that I am in a relationship. It's a bad relationship, because we need support at that time. And
Right. Right.
and what should be the relation with the parents, so that the child can open up about, if a girl also a lot of things happen, how we can open
Right.
up in front of our parents, our father and mother. And what do you want to say about this?
Right. So again, a great question. I feel that the best thing that a parent can give a child is open space for open communication without judgment. It's very easy to feel that because I'm the parent, I know what is best for my child. It's not true. Sometimes our children can know more than we know. So it's very wrong to think that just because I'm the parent, I know what is best for my child, because you don't know what your child's core values are. His or her values might be very different from your values. So like you might get pleasure from baking, you might get pleasure from reading, you might get pleasure from doing different things, and your child might get pleasure from doing different things. So it's very important that you do not judge them on what they are doing. It's, and when you don't judge them and when you give them that space to communicate freely, then your kids will automatically take more responsibility, because with more freedom comes more responsibility. And this is something that I've experienced as a child myself. Like, even though I come from a very orthodox Indian family, both my parents were very forward looking, and they gave us a lot of space, a lot of space and flexibility to do things, and which made it very easy for us to communicate with them. Like, we were not scared of committing or communicating or talking to them, because we knew that they would not judge us. They would in fact help us feel better about the situation, or help us come up with a new solution or something like that. So I think it's very important that you do that for your child, because no child really wants to lie, no child wants to hide, nobody wants to do it, because as human beings we don't want to do these things, because it's difficult, right? It's difficult to lie, it's difficult to hide, nobody wants to do it. But sometimes the child is not left with an option, because they know that on the receiving end the parents will not take it very positively. So they are not left with an option but to lie and hide. So when I was growing up, I used to see so many friends used to lie and hide, and I could not understand that why was it happening as a child. And I understood this because when I went to college, there was so much about alcohol and smoking and everything. And they used to smoke and they used to call and they used to be like, no, I'm just in the library, I'm reading a book. And I was like, wow, you're not even reading a book. Why would you say that? And then, it was very simple. They used to be like, we don't want to say it, but if we don't say it, there's going to be a huge scene and a huge drama, whatever at home. So nobody wants to lie, but you're not left with an option. But, in my house, there was full freedom to drink and smoke, but nobody did it because we knew it. So it's very important to educate them that why is it not good for you, why do I think that you should not do it, and then leave it to your child. That's important, because the more you try to contain them in a space, more you try to judge them, the more they'll go out of their way to do it, because anything that's not easily accessible becomes very desirable. This is almost like a law. Like what I cannot get easily is what I really want to get, and what I can get easily, I don't value those things. So I think that when you make this whole thing very difficult to access and all, then also it becomes very desirable. So I think it's very important for parents to have open communication and not judge your child, not shame your child, and not blame your child. So when you can have effective, I think an effective communication is communication where you're not judging, blaming, and shaming. When you can really get yourself to that place, then you can really have a good conversation with your child, because now your child knows that my mother is understanding me or my father understands how I feel. And the good thing is that most of us have gone through it, and still as parents we don't want our children to go through it. That is so unfair. That we've done everything but my child should not do anything. That I feel is not fair. That if you got your share of fun, let your child have their own share of fun, and then learn through their experiences whether they want to stick with it or whether they want to move away from it. So I think that is very important. And of course, like small things like expressing love, being there for them, and all of that is also very important. But the most important is communication without judging, blaming, and shaming. And also from the child's point of view, would like to mention something, that as parents, all of us want to do the best for our children. Even if we are judging, blaming, and shaming, the intent is always to do the best for our children. The idea is that some of us don't know what is the better thing to do. So we just do what we've seen growing up. Right? That's a belief system, and we just want to pass on that belief system without knowing. Because no parent would not want the best for his or her child. They always want the best for their children. So as a child, if you are mature, like, because I see grown-up children blaming their parents. That I am what I am because my parents were like this. Or because my parents never did anything for me, I've become like this. That's so unfair, right? You are responsible for your life and the choices that you made. You cannot shift the blame to your parents. And if you're playing this blame game, then your life will never improve. The quality of your life will never improve. So it's very important for us to understand that everybody is doing their best based on their limited experience, knowledge, and wisdom. So our parents are always doing the best that they can based on what they know. It's not like they don't want us to progress, or they don't want us to do well in life, or they don't want us to whatever do what we want to do. It's just that they want to protect us. They just feel that, okay, she's trying this, what if this doesn't work for her? She's going to feel very bad. So how can I protect her? And to protect you, they'll also sometimes put this most important relationship at stake. Because they know that you're not feeling good when they're saying that to you, but they still say it because they are prioritizing your safety and your protection over their relationship with you in that moment. So it's very difficult for the parent also. So I think it's bi-directional. Parenting is bi-directional. It's not unidirectional. So it's not like only about what the parent does for the child, but it's also about how the child takes it. So, if the parent is saying that do this, do that, So a child can say, okay, I really want to explore what you're saying, but can you give me some time to explore what I really want to explore? And if this doesn't work out, maybe I can give a shot to whatever it is that you want to explore, want me to explore. So it's very important to have an open mindset and not to judge parents too much also, because I see children judging parents a lot. That, my mother is not the best mother, her mother is, allowing her to do everything, and she has so much freedom, she has so much independence, maybe because she had different experiences while growing up. But maybe your mother had different set of experiences while growing up, so she's passing on what she knows. So you cannot really blame your parents also. So I think it's both sided, and not just like, one, like the parent doing everything for the child, but also about child's predisposition and the child's own temperament and the child's own way of reacting to things that are being told. So just take everything as a positive feedback when it comes from a parent. I think that if it's coming from a parent, just take it as a positive feedback, process it, and just understand that why are they saying so. They're not saying so to harm you, they're only saying so to protect you. So if you think like that as a child, also as a teenager, because you're like a grown up, so I thought that this would help you also. That if you think like that, it's going to give you a lot of clarity, and it's going to actually help you improve your relationship with your parent. That I understand why she's telling me this, but I'm going to still do what I want to. So I'm not going to blame her, I'm not going to judge her, and I'm not going to fight with her. I'm going to do what I'm doing, and we'll see what happens.
With the last question, if a relationship with between parent and child already in the restriction mode because of some things, because of the restriction, because of not giving freedom, the child is not feeling good on the relationship are going into the restriction direction and it's not going well. What's your suggestion to the parents and to the child that how they can make the relationship better? Because as we are discussing a lot about the parenting, I want you to address it first, how the parents will tackle the situation and what are the things they need to do so that the relationship will become better with their child, and how the child will behave when some things are not happening good. And if the child also want to correct, obviously everyone wants to correct the relationship with parents because we don't
Right.
want to stay away from our parents. But some things, some misunderstandings happens and things get forced. So what do you want to say about it?
Right. So here again, it all starts with communication. So if you are thinking it in your head and you're not talking about it, then how will your parents know, right? And same for the child, right? If the parent is thinking about it and is not talking about it, then how will the child know what they're thinking? So it all starts with communication. Now it's very important that you don't get aggressive when you're communicating, because when you get aggressive, the other person gets defensive, and then there is a power struggle. So let's say, if from the child point of view, if I had to mention, so let's, because you're like the child, right? So let's say if I had to mention it from your point of view, and if you were to speak to your parents, and if you feel that you want to improve your relationship with your parents, then you can initiate this conversation, and you can just have an open, very candid conversation with your parents and tell them that, I want to discuss a few things with you. Is it okay if I share it with you? Get their permission. Is it okay if I share these things with you? So now, and then you tell them that, I understand that you want the best for me, I understand that you love me. So tell them that you understand those things, because as a parent, they'll feel good that, you understand how much they love you, you understand they want the best for you. And then you tell them that, and I really appreciate that you're trying to look for me, like you're trying to protect me, and you're trying to take care of me, and you're trying to be involved and give me, because he, like, when they're giving you opinions, it means that they are involved, which means that they care about you. If the parent is not giving you an opinion about anything that you do, how would you feel? You would just feel that you don't have a parent, right? So it's a good place, right? Even if it's an opinion that you do not agree with, that's also okay, because at least they are involved in your life, right? They see themselves as helping you. So it's very important that you tell them that I'm so great that you're actually taking care and you're observing what I'm doing as a child, and you really want the best for me. But these are, it's very difficult for me to explain why I cannot do what you want me to do, because I just don't feel happy when I do those things. So I just want to explore a few things, and I would love it if you support me as a parent. I know I might not, I might fail. There is a possibility I might fail. There is a possibility that I might not be the best at what I'm thinking I am going to be good at. But I still want your support, because your support would mean a lot to me. because without your support, everything that I do would be meaningless, because I don't feel happy doing it. So when you have a conversation like this, chances are that they will be more receptive. Now, this is very unpredictable, and it would depend on the individual at the receiving end also. Even sometimes like this, when you start to talk, parents might get aggressive, or they might get defensive. They might say, but I was just thinking like that and that, and it might just continue. So again, you have to keep your calm and understand that this is the best that they do, and then just move on, right? And sometimes I feel that, just because they're your parents, you want to have a happy relationship with them, but there's no real need for you to be very close or involved if they are pulling your energy down, even if they are your parents. If your parents are actually helping raise your energy, then spend a lot of time with your parents. But if you feel that being in their energy makes you feel demotivated, makes you feel uncomfortable about the things that you're doing, then there is, of course, have a cordial relationship, but don't throw yourself into that relationship unnecessarily, because it's just going to make you feel worse about yourself. So I think your main responsibility first is towards yourself, and it's important that you protect that at any cost. So of course, be nice to your parents, be gentle, but do not, overexpose yourself if you feel it's not helping. And if you feel that, if you're talking to them and they're absorbing it and they're responding to it positively, then see how you can do more of it, so that this relationship can really improve with time. And the same for the parents. The parents can also have a similar conversation where they tell the child that, I understand that this is what you want to do, but blah blah blah. And there's this whole thing called transactional analysis, where are different communication styles that the parents can use to communicate with their children. But that is like a whole 1 hour lecture, and that's a little technical for a podcast, which really helps parents understand how they should communicate to their children without being judgmental, without having their own personal biases, and without actually deciding what the conclusion should be. So I think this will really help sort of improve communication. I feel is the key to any relationship, because even if you're not communicating, you are communicating. So that is, because you're telling a lot of things about what you feel even without communicating. So fixing the communication and, making it non-judgmental can really help any relationship, I feel.
Okay, it's awesome talking to you. Lastly, I want to say, what do you want to say? The last line, the important thing that you want to address for all the parents out there.
Right. So usually I say something like, the more we work on ourselves, the lesser we have to work on our children. This is something that I usually share, because this is the philosophy that I truly follow. But because the conversation today has been very different, I would like to focus on communication, that it's very important that as parents, we focus on communication. And when we communicate with our children, or when our children communicate with us, we do not blame them, judge them, and shame them. Give them that space. It takes a lot of courage to come and speak. And when they come and speak to you with so much courage, it's important that you respect and honor that courage. Because if you start to blame, judge, and shame them instead of respecting the courage that they have shown, they will not come back to you for more. And when they don't come back to you, they go somewhere else. And you don't know what that source is, whether that is the best source for your child. So you really want to communicate and allow that communication to happen without judgment. So I think that would be my last closing statement.
Thank you so much, Riddhi, for being a part of the JRS show. It's really lovely talking to you. I hope a lot of people will get a lot of value from this episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was pleasure, and I love the questions. Thank you.